Spectrum Voices, the 55 Live conversation, presented by Harry, is sponsored by coldpack.co.uk. Anybody using their website to replace a cold pack will be making a donation directly to the work we have here at Autistic Radio. And throughout the year, that has added up to everything that we need to here at Autistic Radio to be entirely independent financially. So thank you to everybody who uses the coldpack.co.uk website and continue to support us.
Hello everyone, this is Harry's Facebook for Sunday the 21st of December 2025. This is where we share and talk about the posts that have been shared on the Autistic Radio Facebook page. And the first post is from Nikki Butler, the Autistic Joyolgist, who is an entrepreneur, ADHD, best-selling author, success and balance, business strategist, mentor, speaker, autism and ADHD advocate, supporting neurodivergent people to stop living in hard mode and create a fulfilling life on their terms. And she shared the following. Christmas has a way of turning the volume up on everything. Noise, expectations, social energy, guilt, memories. If you're late diagnosed ADHD, it can feel like everyone else got a festive manual you somehow missed, and you're just trying not to implode quietly in the corner. This isn't about doing Christmas right. It's about doing it in a way that doesn't cost you your nervous system. Save this presentation. Share it with someone who needs permission to opt out. And if you're reading this thinking, oh wow, she's in my head, you're not alone. If you want more support through the festive chaos, my Joyful Holiday Survival Kit exists for exactly this reason. And the presentation itself, called How I Survived Christmas as a Late Diagnosed ADHD Woman, No Tinsel Required, Minimal Eye Contact Encouraged. Fewer plans, fewer meltdowns, coincidence. Just because it's December doesn't mean your nervous system suddenly loves back-to-back socialising, loud rooms, surprise visitors, or just let squeeze one more thing in. Less in the diary, more capacity to actually enjoy something. Clear exits. If I don't have an exit plan, I don't have a plan. I need to know how long I'm staying, where I can breathe, and that I can leave without explaining my entire nervous system. This isn't rude. It's how I stay regulated enough to show up at all. Lower expectations. Lower the bar. Then lower it again. Christmas doesn't need to be magical, meaningful, productive, and Pinterest worthy. Sometimes success looks like everyone is fed, no one cried much, and you didn't push yourself into burnout because it's Christmas. That counts fully. Radical self-permission. Permission to disappoint others so you don't abandon yourself. You're allowed to say no, change your mind, skip traditions that cost you too much, rest without earning it. You don't need to be the easiest person in the room to be worthy of love. Snacks, always snacks. This is not optional. This is infrastructure. Being hungry and overwhelmed is instant nervous system chaos. Snacks aren't indulgent. They're preventive care. And yes, emotional support snacks absolutely count. None of this is festive. All of it is necessary. Because surviving Christmas without burning everything down is the win. If this season feels like a lot, you're not broken. You're responding normally to a month that asks too much. Be kind to yourself. That's the real tradition worth keeping.
I find it gets very claustrophobic, and like Thing says, you need an exit strategy. But the worst thing is what I call the Christmas Gestapo. People are saying to be happy, you have to join in, and then they use cheap shot in plug. Just go on and enjoy yourself.
I think it's good advice for people who have been masking a lot or have family that they're masking a lot with. The advice sounds good. I think my daughter does this. She just texted me and said on Christmas Day, she will order these delicious turkey dinners. They're pre-made from a store. I'll go to her place, we'll eat them, and then we'll go see Wicked 2. It will be a lot for me in terms of the movie sensory experience at the place. He seems to be keeping these things in mind.
Wow, that's a really lovely thing that you're doing there. What a lovely thing the two of you have organised there. And the generational, the mother and the child, and it's all designed to be something that's out of the ordinary, that's tingling, that's going to see a film, going to see something that's noisy and exciting and all kinds of things. So yeah, it's outside your comfort zone. And then you've also signaled this whole thing about, it's going to be basically a TV dinner. And that's perfectly fine. No fucking about with pretending to be an advertisement between back-to-back Christmas films that we see. I think that is how to handle it. Taking it down to a known thing that, you can say it's reducing your expectations, or you could say it's raising your expectations to not being pushed past your limit. You've actually designed it better for the two of you.
I should add that going to the movie on Christmas Day, there aren't that many people there, or at least, the vibe is a lot different in the theater, and she's neurodivergent in a different way than I am. And so it just minimizes a lot of the angst, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true. I have just come back from a cinema trip where we were the only audience, bar one person who sat at the back in the larger of their cinema screens. And I'm also travelling on the 31st of December when everyone's arrived at their destinations, and on the 14th of February when everyone has arrived at their destinations also. So 2 very slack days to do things when other people are not doing them.
There's some things in the text from Robbie on the topic. Christmas remove activities from the diary, and Christmas being focused entirely on family mean social isolated, closed activities, friends spend time with family. Less to do means more time to focus on loss. And he also says, I don't have to mask because I have nowhere to go. So that gives one perspective of the Christmas experience.
I think the majority of the post is about not being forced to do things, not living up to the social expectations that sometimes are perceived when they don't even exist anyway. People would rather you not do some of the things that you feel obliged to do, to take care of yourself, to moderate what you are trying to achieve, but still get the tingles and the oddnesses and the things that happen at Christmas. Because you will want to be slightly out of your comfort zone. You will want to be a tiny bit more social at the office party than maybe, you are going to experiment with being a sentient human being in your skin in the world and trying new things. So just take it easy, folks.
I think this one doesn't address everybody, though. So there could be other posts, for example, about situations where you're alone and you would like to be social, or not wanting to spend all the money. For me, I don't like shopping. I think one of the things we talked about last week, maybe it was about a post or just a conversation, but I talked about giving experiences. Partly I do that because I don't like going out shopping, but also when we do them, even the ones that are like at some other time during the year, I'll take one grandchild to a museum. We try to do it on a quiet day when the museum is not busy. And we also get the tickets for free from the library. Using your library card, you can, at the library, book a ticket for free. I'm pretty sure I got these gift ideas so that I didn't have to go to the store. And we were talking earlier about hearing Christmas carols. I have not heard one yet this year because I haven't been in a store.
I think it's interesting what you're giving there. You're giving time, attention, the experience. And frankly, it doesn't matter whether it's going to a free museum or whether it's going to a theme park. It's the time with the adult, with the other person that is valued. Now, that doesn't always work out for us as autistic people because we can't always manage to do this on our own terms. The environments that we're offered are too hectic, too big, too scary, too whatever. And Christmas is a bit like that. It is a bit like some of the things that you would like to achieve with people that you love or you know. The whole world has turned into this chaotic, noisy mess. But part of life is also about challenging oneself. And I think Christmas has, year on year, coming in for my 60th Christmas, it's been different every year. And there have been challenges, there have been new experiences, things that have changed because it's an odd, chaotic winter solstice time of year. We can take what we want from it. If we understand our own nature, we can get the joy in it. Here's a beautiful thing from the text. Ray says, today in the Northern Hemisphere is the winter solstice. It's the return of the light, 21st December.
The next post is from Autistic Nottingham. We're a non-profit organisation. We are a charity run for and by autistic adults in Nottinghamshire without intellectual disabilities, based in the UK. And they've shared something called a Christmas Day festive check-in, which is taking place on Christmas Day between 2:30 and 3:30 PM. And what they say in the post is, check in with one of our wonderful support team on Christmas Day. Whether you are spending the day enjoying your own company, or you need an excuse to get away from your family for an hour, this online check-in will be an informal and supportive peer space for autistic adults, alongside friends and allies. Whether you want to share challenges, celebrate progress, or simply be present with others who get it, our festive check-in will be a space where you can find community and peer support without pressure. To get access, you'll need to join an online meeting space via our Discord channel.
It's a great thing, isn't it? A check-in at this time of year. They've put away an hour and it's available where people are. People are on Discord out there and they have a community group. They have a targeted group of people and they're doing it. This is something that we should be seeing everywhere, really. We're doing 16 hours of availability with our backstage during radio days. And that happens between Christmas and New Year, the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th of December. Starting here in the UK time zone, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for 4 hours. You can drop in. There'll be somebody from the team all the way for those 16 hours on those 4 days between Christmas and New Year, and sometimes more than one of us. What they're doing here in Nottingham is lovely, and I'm putting out that we have 16 hours of something very similar here on Autistic Radio, open to a worldwide audience.
The next post is from Kate Boot, Neurodivergent Advocacy and Therapeutic Services, who's a speech therapist, AUDHD sensory integration trained speech and language therapist. You are most likely to find me over on Instagram, Neurodivergent Advocacy, because I don't particularly have the spoons to manage multiple social media platforms. And she shared the following. What trust actually feels like. When trust starts to form, you might see more questions, more disagreement, clearer boundaries, delayed responses, selective engagement to manage energy and self-care needs. These aren't red flags. They're signs someone feels safe enough to be real. What Robbie shared is, I have found it harder to trust people because of abuse by people in authority.
I'm not willing to trust the authority of the services that deal with autistic people in any way, shape or form. Any service that requires me to trust them is suspect. It seems to me that autistic people are best to be suspicious of the inequity in both the communication and the power dynamic we're now dealing with all authority, including autism professionals. Building trust yourself in outside forces is your own choice. They can't build trust for you. You have to give that permission. I would say be careful. Robbie says, I am reluctant to trust people in authority because I have been held against my will on a number of occasions. This is something that happens here in the UK. People are subject to restraint, physical restraint, enforced isolation in our system. It's something that we here at Autistic Radio are working in some small ways to bring the attention to that. And we'll be putting out some podcasts soon from the conference. Robbie says he was spoken over by the adult and autism team. Ray says that outsourcing authority for a lifetime, which many autistic people do, leads to them not trusting themselves or giving yourself permission to trust. So it's the balance, I suppose, that Ray's bringing us to the attention of. Robbie says that his default is not to trust anyone in authority. Ray adds to his outsourcing comment that some people are comfortable with outsourcing their authority, and they do it for a lifetime. But that also means that you end up being unable to trust yourself. So receiving the structure means you lose the ability to maybe go outside the structure, perhaps, is what Ray's aiming at. Robbie says that people lied about events when he made complaints. So he has found himself unable to trust the services at every juncture, and he has many stories about how he has been let down.
The next post is from the Autistic Teacher, public figure, autistic and proud, sharing insight and understanding to help the autistic community based in the UK. And they shared a quote which says, "It's okay to be different. The world needs that too."
Yeah, I think it's who's saying it, really.
Very true. We just need to convince neurotypical people.
The next post is from Shy Little Pixie, who's a writer, sharing fragments of my life as I rediscover who I truly am after late diagnoses of autism, ADHD and complex PTSD, Western Australia, and shared the following. Searching for the beauty in dark times. The past week has been stressful in so many ways. On a family level for me, personally. But also on a national level with the horrific massacre in Sydney. And on a local level with so many people around me seeming to be facing huge ordeals or losses in their lives. When a string of awful events happens around us, particularly this close to Christmas and the end of the year, it can be really hard to see the beauty that life still has to offer. We become saturated with the immensity of sadness and tragedy that is occurring around us, or to us, and that can quickly seem like a never-ending cascade of devastation that leads to us feeling hopeless. I believe this is the time when we need to search the hardest to notice the beauty that still exists around us. More than ever, we need to focus on the kindness that is so freely expressed by complete strangers during our personal crises, or even during awful community tragedies, like the one in Bondi last weekend. Yes, It is so important that we acknowledge the loss, the pain, the horror of it all, and that we pay our respects to those who were taken in such a tragic manner. But it can also be a reminder for us to step back from the crazy, chaos-filled consumerism that Christmas has somehow evolved into, and truly ask ourselves, does it really matter? All the gifts, the stress, the worry over cooking food perfectly, or trying to have our table setting Insta-worthy. None of this really matters in the end. As long as we can spend the time with those we love and care about, that is the only present any of us really need. For those who may be grieving this festive season, for the loss of loved ones, or for the loss of our health, our relationships, or jobs, or pets, or any other loss in your life, may you still be able to feel the sunshine on your face, or the scattering of snowflakes on your head, depending on where you reside. May the love of those around you ease a little of your pain. The world can feel like an awful, ugly place sometimes, but if you look hard enough, you can still find moments of beauty existing amongst the chaos. Sending love, Chantel.
Beautifully written there, Chantel, and beautifully read there, if you don't mind me saying there, Harry. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's just breathe in, listen to what she says, and live by that.
The next post is from Diversity Doodles, which is a personal blog. Doodles that, with your help, aim to spread messages about neurodiversity that I'd like the world to understand. Thank you for help making it happen. It says the following. Rumour had it that today was the last day of school. This rumour caught me entirely off guard this morning at 7:13 a.m. Prior to 7:13, it was definitely closing on the 23rd. I'll be early. This has necessitated doing all the Christmas shopping, including collection of the bike and its subsequent stashing in the chicken coop between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 12:45. Now, bear in mind that for convenience sake, all relevant shops have at least 7.5 kilometres between them in opposing directions, and the knowledge every single other parent on the island has just been party to the same rumour. Anyway, apart from noping out of Lidl at 12:15, because even in ear defenders, it was going to end in a mental breakdown, which actually started in the checkout queue in Jumbo just half an hour previous. It is done, all of it. Well, that was till the bus assistant, not the bus switch, the other one, presented him with a new jacket. Quite why I have no effing idea, but it's a posh one and obviously expensive. And he's the only kid on the bus that get any sort of gift. So now I'm going to overthink that till I die, and also get her a gift, though crap knows what. But it's okay, cause school is now not shut Monday by decree of solemn declaration. I'm currently looking for his passport to complete. Because church, they will finish early, but not too early. That is precise, as I know. Tuesday is still an entirely unknown entity. Presumably we will be informed about that on Monday, because that's the sort of ample time anyone needs to know anything by. Honestly, I still haven't processed the midweek Christmas play enough to begin with, to describe the week in any accurate detail, but it involves an ongoing argument with an ATM, felling several 20-foot yucca using a blunt saw and insufficiency toll ladders, and re-cementing a fireplace. I definitely left my brain somewhere else, and I do not have the will to retrace my steps and locate it. I need a lie down, a long one. Laughing faces.
I found it really multi-layered, kind of rich and good writing.
I think the issue is about structure. It was someone else is creating a structure. Or you think you have structure, but something changes slightly, which throws things up in the air.
I think so. It's kind of like the abrupt change the person's getting at, because we're used to nature having gradual changes, we can handle those.
I think for me, it's more about not having time allocated by other people to things that feel a bit of a waste of time. So waiting for something and then not being able to make use of that time because somebody is late, or not knowing in advance how to plan around it so I can use absolutely every bit of my time efficiently up until when I need to be at the place. I'm a person who likes to be early for things, but not too early. I don't like being late for things, but I don't see that as an autistic desire for structure. I think I see that as an autistic desire to be able to plot the pattern and make decisions about what I'm doing all the way through, so that I live the best life I can, hour by hour, minute by minute, day by day, because I'm not going to live forever.
The final post is from Soulfully Neurodivergent, which is a personal blog, and they say the following: I told you I'm autistic, and you weaponized it against me, assuming incompetence, assuming I'm nothing more than a stereotype, judging me based on how functional you think I should be, as if you had any idea what it's like to be me, as if you hear that word and all of a sudden you know everything about me, when the truth is you only know what I choose to allow you to see.
That's why it's important that we speak out, and it's important that we are seen so people realise that we are all different.
This is why it's important for a lot of different people to speak out, so they can show them that we're not all the same.
It's quite hard-hitting and very true, because I think a lot of it is when people have got a label for you, and even if you've provided that label by telling them, the diagnosis or the identity you have, people are making assumptions about what that means. And if you're someone that's very guarded and doesn't want to tell every single thing, which is very understandable to do, because I've had those moments, is people make assumptions about absolutely everything, about how you cope with things, how you would behave at certain things and certain ways, all sorts of things, and it can be very damaging.
The moment you say you're autistic, people stop listening and make assumptions, because I'm always willing to explain everything, but once I've said autistic, they've stopped listening.
This just reminds me of why I didn't speak in high school.
For some reason, people prefer academic studies to real lived experience.
That's why I took part in 2 university studies this year.
It's why I took part in workshops with an organisation called The Expert About Myself to help deliver training, because the only useful training is based on actual lived experience of autistic people and other neurodivergent people.
Well, thanks everyone. That was a good discussion tonight. This is Harry's Facebook for Sunday the 21st of December 2025, which is part of the Spectrum Voices conversation, which is broadcast every Sunday, 5:55 PM to 7 PM UK time. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to speaking next time.
Spectrum Voices Conversation is an Autistic Association production for AutisticRadio.com. If you have something to share with us, if you need a voice, you can make different kinds of programs with us. You can make a 10-minute short, or you can join us for a podcast to talk about a subject that is dear to your heart, or something you think needs a wider audience. We have an open door policy for divergent views. We do not necessarily agree with everything that we share on our Facebook pages or the words expressed in our podcast. There are a lot of different divergent views which we are trying to allow get aired so that people can see things from different people's vantage points. We hope that you will join that conversation. Contact us through any of our links, Facebook, by email, directly to us.